So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get started. So good afternoon, everybody. I hope that you're having a great Monday so far. So we are going to have Sierra Zavala. So she's the Community Relations Coordinator at Coastal Plains Integrated Health, and she is going to be talking about the YES waiver. So if you are watching this live, I'm going to submit your training for you. You do not have to do that. I'll do that. If you are watching this pre-recorded, you can either drop in the comments that you've completed watching the whole recording, or you can always email me. Like I know Lucy emailed me this morning, and I'll go ahead and I'll enter it for y'all. And then if you have any questions in the chat, because you can't, I know Ms. Studer, you said that your microphone isn't working, so if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, and I'll go ahead and I'll read and ask Sierra the question. And at any point, if you do want to come off mute and you have any questions for Sierra, I mean, feel free to. And I think that's all. So Sierra, if you want to go ahead, you want to take it from here.
Okay. Well, let's see, it's past 1 o'clock, so good afternoon. I almost always say good morning right off the bat, just used to those kinds of meetings. My name is Sierra Zavala, and I am the Community Relations Coordinator here for Coastal Plains Integrated Health, formerly known as Coastal Plains Community Center. Back in September, we went through a recent name change, and the reason why we went through that name change is to help us better incorporate all the different programs and services that we do have available here within our centers. A lot of people who have seen us in the past also may still refer to us as the Coastal Plains MHMR, and we are all the same center, just gone through a couple of different titles. We do have centers across the 9 counties surrounding Nueces County, such as we have a center out in Kingsville, Texas, Alice, Texas, Falfurrias, Texas, and we also have a center in San Diego, Texas as well. I should also introduce Miss Imelda Barrera. She is our YES waiver coordinator for Coastal Plains, and she is going to be doing the bulk of the YES presentation, as she is better involved within that role. But I wanted to go ahead and make a quick overview about what our services are here for Coastal Plains. As you know, we do serve both children and adults starting at the age of 3. We have a youth and family program within our centers that does cater the majority to our youth, while the YES waiver program does cater to for more intensive services. Our individuals within our youth and family program are typically between the ages of 3 to 17. When they reach the age of 17, they typically do transfer into that of the adult services, if not go through our transition age youth program. Whenever an individual does come to see us on the youth side, typically they may be showing various symptoms of a severe emotional disturbance. Sometimes this could be in the form of anxiety, depression, qualities of ADHD, autism. We see a wide range of different diagnoses when it comes to our youth. We also see individuals for substance use as well. We do have a separate program for substance use that does begin at the age of 15 within our substance use. It is considered separate, but typically both programs do correlate with each other to help recognize the needs and the strengths of the individual to maintain a better quality of care for the individual. A big part of Coastal Plains is we try to go out and we do promote a lot of outreach and knowledge, not only about our services, but also about mental health in general, as a lot of people, when they do come into services, or if they're thinking about coming into services, a lot of people are not sure if this is what I actually need, or if I'm actually experiencing symptoms that might qualify me for services. The services that we do have at Coastal Plains Community Center, to simply come in for a screening, is at no cost to the individual. We are considered a nonprofit. We are state funded. And so if anybody is concerned if they could qualify for services, we would never discourage anyone to come in, ask questions, call us to see if they do meet qualifications. And if for some reason we cannot provide to the needs that this individual is is displaying, then we can make referrals out to agencies that are better fit to suit the individual's needs. For our youth and family program, this is a program that is available throughout all of our centers besides Nueces County. When I say that we do cater to the surrounding counties, we technically cannot see those individuals within the Nueces County districts, such as Bishop, Texas, or Agua Dulce. That being said, if the individual does go into a crisis, whereas the person is experiencing a mental health crisis, psychiatric symptoms, or suicidal ideations, people can still utilize our crisis hotline, and we are able to respond and such. Afterwards, the individual may be referred to the proper agency that does cover their district, but that is still something that we can respond to. So with that brief overview, I want to go ahead and pass the torch on to Miss Imelda, who can talk about our YES waiver.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, I'm Imelda Barrera Garcia, and I'm the YES Waiver Program Manager out of Kingsville. Although we service the 9 counties, we're only a few in the YES Waiver. I have 2 ICMs, currently looking for another ICM in the Taft area. So, you know, anyone that is looking to get hired on with Coastal Plains and meets the criteria, the job opening is on the website. So YES wraparound waiver services. I call it, the YES waiver is the 1915 C medicated program. It's funded through the Texas Health and Human Service Commission and administered by the local mental health authority, such as Coastal Plains. Okay, what the YES waiver program is for youth that have severe emotional disturbance, and to meet the criteria for the YES program, for the YES waiver, there's five areas of criteria that must be met before any youth from the age of 3 to the age of 18, and sometimes 19, depending on their age, on when they come into the program. There's 5 areas of criteria. A being, you know, the level of function that where the youth is at. B, the individual must exhibit mental health needs that require intensity of mental health services. C, outpatient therapy or partial hospitalization must have been attempted. D, medical eligible individual must meet at least one of the following, which is be presenting if he's a danger or she's a danger to themselves, any recent suicide attempt, any self-injurious behavior or active threats, hallucinations, inability to comply with the medical health. E, they must have a valid mental health diagnosis, excluding a single diagnosis of substance abuse disorder, autism, intellectual disability, and developmental disability. So before they come into the YES waiver, they have to meet that criteria. Okay, once they're enrolled in the YES waiver, all right, they go through the process of an intake, which an LPC will evaluate them and assess them, and once they are in the YES waiver. YES waiver is what the Medicaid program is, and we offer wraparound services. Wraparound service is a family-based, team-based service where the individual, along with the parents, along with informal and formal supports, gather together, you know, to form a team in order to help the youth with let's say behavior or any type of severe emotional disturbances, right? And of course, anything else that qualifies him or she or her to be in the YES waiver program. We meet once a month. Along with that, we have to have the commitment of the parents to participate in that. Once we get the commitment from the parents, of course, we move forward. We start seeing them for intensive case management. At least 1 to 3 times a week, they're assigned a intensive case manager, caseworker, and they're seen at school, they're seen at their homes, and or any other place in the community. We each case manager has maybe a total of 10 to 13, depending on. Usually we're short staffed, on ICMs, but this time we're fully staffed with the exception of the one opening that's now in Taft. And it is a family-based program, like I said, and it's centered around the youth. And the whole idea of the YES waiver and the wraparound service is to keep this child from constantly going into the hospital. The YES waiver children and the wraparound level of care for children, they do suffer serious intensive disturbances in which they require a lot of hospitalization. So the whole point of wraparound is to keep them out of the hospitals. That's why it's intensive. We also offer several therapies that include music therapy, equine therapy. What else do we offer? Let me look to make sure I see.
We offered art therapy at one
Art
point.
therapy. It's Monday. Art therapy, recreational therapy. And so most of the kids that we have in the YES waiver program take advantage of that. We also have respite workers. We have paraprofessional workers, and we're also looking for paraprofessional workers, which they go in and work with the school and kind of shadow the kiddo around and help out of course the school out. And we also have, like I said, a respite that takes over when the parents are, when they need a break. And that's also available. So the YES facilitator will coordinate the wraparound services and will coordinate with the formal supports and informal supports. And we also offer adaptive aids. Like this past month, I think it was in February, we're able to secure some iPads for the YES waiver children. Not all of them got it, but some of them did. And so that's something for them, right? And as an adaptive aid, we are going through the Health and Human Services to see if they qualify for internet services for those that do not have internet at home. But for the most part, a lot of the YES waiver kids do have internet. So they're able to log on, play games, educational games. We even have them do sometimes some go-to meetings. So that's always exciting. We also have non-medical transportation, and that means, the respite provider will also get paid to transport the child, into other community settings. Let's see. So as we engage the parents, of course, and the team members into this meeting that we do on a monthly basis or as needed, let's say a youth goes into the hospital and they're there maybe about 3 or 4 days, depending on their needs, of course. And so we do an emergency team meeting, and we gather, of course, all the team members and the parents, and we brainstorm ways of how to keep this youth out of the hospital. And the whole goal of YES waiver is to keep the child out of the hospital. And also it's used basically when parents have exhausted all resources, and parents are not getting their questions answered. What else can we do? There's something else. We offer the YES waiver, the wraparound services. And we also have a level of care for, let's say the child did not qualify for YES waiver because it's through Medicaid. We offer level of care for, which is basically the same thing as YES waiver, however, without all the adaptive aids and the therapies. But they are given intensive case management. They are given a skills worker, and the skilled worker can also see them maybe 2 to 3 times a week. So it's an intensive program that lasts from maybe up to 16 months or more, depending on how well they do. For some of the children that we do have on Yes Waiver, it's been a while since they've been on Yes on the wraparound process, but I see it in my experience and what I've seen, it is very helpful. We just had one of our kiddos from the north graduate from the Yes Waiver program, and we go all out. We have a little party for them. We also do we give them a certificate of achievement because Yes Waiver is intensive, and even though it becomes to them it's like, oh no, but for the most part they do have a lot of fun in it. We try to make it fun for them to so they can be engaged in the service. I think that the more interesting, and the facilitators that we have right now, they do the wrap service with so many brilliant ideas, and the kids engage and they love it. They don't see it as a task that, oh my God, I got to go to another support service, or I need to go to another another visit with my case manager. We try to keep it interesting, of course, identifying their needs and their strengths. And also on the wraparound, we also have a need for the LAR, because the LAR is which is the legal authorized representative. It could be a mom. Now kids are being raised by grandparents. So anyone that is legally authorized for that child, we also help them out through the family partner. We do coordination with the parents and anyone that's in the team. So that's kind of what Yes is in a nutshell. I know it's a lot of information in a little bit of time, but I'm open to questions.
Yeah. So what if the children are placed with foster parents? Is that still something that they're able to?
Yeah, foster parents, because they will have their legal documents, correct?
Yeah. And so because, right, so some of our cases, right, so we have obviously foster parents, but then we also have parents. So would those meetings involve foster parents and biological parents as well?
Yes, they can. If it's decided by the one who is authorized, the legal representative, authorized representative says, hey, yes, I do want the biological parents, or I do want, foster parents, or, it helps. The more people we have helping the child, the better the chances of this child to be successful.
Okay. And then I had another question. So going back to like the criteria. So you said the criteria was between 3 and 18 years old, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you said you listed, from A to D. So you have like level of function, and then they have to show that they have some mental health issues, or even if they've gone to like an outpatient. So do they just need to have just one of these have to be met, or they would have to show all of them?
Usually by the time they're referred to, yes, they have met all their criteria. It's rare that we get a denial. It does happen, but if that happens, we automatically they go into a level of care 4, which is the same treatment of services, but without the adaptive aids and without the therapies. But they do get a cognitive behavioral therapy, and that's through us, through Coastal Plains. And that's for either level of care 4 or Yes Waiver children.
Okay. And then as far as just being able to sign up for Yes Waiver, so like if one of our volunteers felt like this would be they have a child that they have a case on, and they feel like this is something that would be beneficial, what would you recommend their step being as far as going to their supervisor? Then where would our supervisors go to get them started?
There's a Yes Waiver line that they can call, and what they do is they leave their name and their phone number, a little bit of background if they want, or and I know this is going to sound funny. It's a Yes Waiver inquiry line, but guess who's a Yes Waiver inquiry line? I am.
You are. I'm like you are.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I know. I kind of feel like I don't know if y'all remember, y'all too young, like Green Acres. That one man, it was an old show. That one man that did everything it was a small rural town, and he did everything. He was a postman. He was like telephone guy. Yeah, exactly. When you're a social worker, you know, you have to do
Right.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
I'll tell
I
you
do
what's
like
also
the,
even more
I'm
interesting is
broker
that
there.
I just also want to point out that I did put the yes inquiry line
Yes.
in the chat for you all to write down or to take down within your notes. I did also put the 24-hour crisis hotline in there as well. And you'll notice that these hotlines are very, very similar. They're just one number off. So just try not to confuse them.
And yes, that old man from it was Sam Drucker. Somebody put that in there.
Yes.
Yes, love that show. So that's like how I feel like, okay, let me put on my yes waiver inquiry line and you call.
Right. You got a like completely different word track for that compared to everything else.
Yes.
And so you said, I like how you mentioned, so you said you'll offer like music therapy, art therapy, recreational therapy. So is that something that the child is able to choose, or is that something that y'all go based off of once they're in the program that you feel like they'd benefit from music therapy or art therapy?
Yes, we assess them, and usually, hey, what are your strengths, right? What are your likes? What are your dislikes? You like music? Oh, okay. Then we discuss it. Do you think that he or she might benefit from music therapy? And a lot of them, will say a lot of them are shy, right? And once we tell them, oh no, it's through Zoom or through GoTo, they're like, okay, we can handle that. I
Right?
know they virtual now, so that I know one of my kids, oh my God, he is doing so good. And for a long time, he's just, we couldn't find like something was missing, right? So finally, we found out that he loved listening to music, but like alone, like no, he didn't want anybody to know what kind of
Right.
music he's listening to. So I think I asked him, hey, what do you do, when you're at home? Like, how do you spend your time? And he's like, well, sometimes he said, I listen to music by myself. I'm like, well, that's good. That's a good coping skill, right? You get upset, don't get upset, don't go that extra that they
Right.
usually go, just, learn how to calm yourself down. And he says, yeah, but he's got other brothers and sisters. They're always bothering me. So that's why nobody knows why I listen to music, right?
Aw,
So I
total
said,
kids
well,
time.
yeah. So I said, okay, let's do music therapy. And he said, yeah, but I'm shy. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to, but it worked out. He's doing really well. He loves it.
That's
He loves
awesome.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody want to come off and ask any questions that they might have as far as the Yes Waiver program? I'm like, I have one more question, but I'm gonna see if anybody else has a question.
Sure. So let me touch on, transition. We transition them as soon as we get the kiddos, we talk about transition. After 15, 16 months, what do you think about graduating, from the Yes Waiver? And so that's always in our plan, a treatment plan to help them out. How are they going to, because, they can, some of them say, I never want to get out of Yes Waiver because, they love it. And we're like, well, yes, it's great, but we can also, do this. So
Yeah.
it's a program that they really enjoy. I've yet no one has said, you know what, I really don't like it. This is not for me. Because as soon as I take like, let's say a commitment, and they want the best for their child. They want to ensure that they're going to be okay, and somebody's out there keeping a watchful eye really on any of their behaviors, because that's what usually lands them in the hospital.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Kathleen had a good answer. So when would you recommend, right? So everyone on here, as well as our supervisors, right? So they deal with these cases. So would you recommend that that criteria be met first before they're like, hey, I think something they could benefit from? Or should it just be like, hey,
Yeah, just refer them. We do
okay,
the rest. Okay. Don't look for any other criteria. It's just something I have to
okay,
share with you so you know how the program works. But
right,
refer them. We do that. We'll take
okay,
care of it. Okay.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and we're usually very quick on the turnaround as far as bringing them into the yes waiver because, we know time is crucial. We need, they're asking for the service because they need it. So
Right.
once they call in, I call them back, get the commitment from the parent because it's really a team commitment. Can all these people join in at the same time, together at this time in the month, right? So once they do that, then you say, okay, this is what's going to happen. And we continue to explain to them. And by the end, and the parents will always tell me, or their grandparents, whomever the legal authorized representative is, will say, yes, I need the help. And so once it's determined whether they are they're going to be a yes waiver youth or not, then if they're not, then they go into the level of care for, which is basically the same thing, but without the aids and the therapies.
Okay.
So we do that. We do all the criteria.
So it would just be more, this is a resource for us to say, hey, I think they could benefit from this. Let's just go ahead and give them a call and kind of try to get them started.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. When you know a kid, if you know a kid that's had so many things going on, and sometimes, kids start from the very beginning with all these programs they're like, and, they don't seem to work out for them for whatever reason. But, here with the yes waiver, and the level of care for, which is intensive case management, we try to reach that area where something's not happening. Let's get it together. Let's see what we can accomplish. Let's be successful at this.
And these family, like these group meet that you say you do once a month, so you do them over Zoom or do you do them in person?
Everything's in person.
Everything? Okay.
We do a lot of meetings at the schools. The schools love the yes waiver because they get to, we also go to ARD meetings. When we do we do a wraparound meeting at the school, we have the counselors, we have the principals involved. I know Fremont School, oh my God, they are so inviting with a yes waiver. The principals, the counselors, the teachers, the SPED teachers, coaches, anyone that wants to be kind of like a big brother to them, we welcome them. So it's very beneficial for the child.
Awesome. That's good to know. Yeah. So I know when we have like certain topics, right? And so one of them was the yes waiver. So when I started kind of looking into on y'all's website, right, and also looking to what the yes waiver meant, it's kind of hard, right? Because it tells you, but like when you break it down in like simple terms, it's like, okay, so it makes it a little bit easier for our volunteers to understand exactly what the program does, so that way they're able to utilize that and they can take that with them in the cases that they do, have. It kind of seems to me like I feel maybe a little bit like, because between that 3 and 18 age, I think teenagers are probably a little bit more, right? Because they're in that where they don't know how to handle situations. And I think for, with the kids that we work with, because they are in a placement, right? So there's just so much emotions that are kind of going on. So they're feeling so many things at once. And sometimes, so I think this is definitely a great resource for our volunteers to have, and just know that they could always just go ahead and inquiry about that to say, hey, I think my child can benefit from this.
Yes. Even if they don't meet the criteria, we do offer the level of care for. Like I said, we even do wrap meetings at home, wherever they want them. The schools are very beneficial, and they engage. It's so great to see so many that are so interested in the success of the youth. So it makes it real interesting. And before you know it, here you are, 2 hours into the wrap, and you're like, wait a minute, what happened to time? And the kid is like, oh, I had fun, when usually they're like, oh, I don't want to be here, how kids are.
Right, with all, this, and I'm sure all of the other things that they are trying to kind of go through as well. I think they want something that kind of seems normal to them. So the fact that you said that the kids that you do have, they don't see it as, oh, this is just another thing I have to go to. They kind of look forward to going to that once a month.
We also do a summer program incentive for them. They attend their sessions. Sometimes, they attend 6 sessions. we take them to Hurricane Alley as a reward for,
Oh,
you know,
that's
being involved.
awesome.
Last year was the first year we did it, and it's we had a good turnout. We had a really good turnout.
That's good. That's a great incentive to just make sure that the children know, hey, you are putting in the work to get better, and so we want to reward you by your hard work through the months. And so I think that's definitely something. I think it
Yeah,
kind of uplifts their spirits as well.
it does, and you know they I have a this young man, right? Oh, they're all wonderful kids, right? But you can see, you know, they smile when they see you, and that's such an awesome feeling to
Right.
know that that kid is getting something. You know, you might not be able to get it from all of them, but you know, there's some that just, oh my God, they melt your heart, and you know, they love it. And like I said, it's rare that I'm like that I have a child. This is, oh, I don't want this.
Right.
Yeah. And even the parents will call in and say, when's our next meeting? You know, he's misbehaving.
They're like they need like a it's like I think that's probably when they know that it's like almost time to
Yes.
probably go to the meeting is like, hey,
Yeah.
stuff's kind of acting up. But I hopefully that progresses as they complete the program, right? So the more tenured they're into the program, then maybe they won't see so much of them acting up because hopefully they're utilizing the resources that y'all give them.
And Alice, they're like, uh, Miss, so and so in the yes waiver. I'm like, I can't tell you that, right? Because they want to know, they kind of want to collaborate to see what's going on. Because they all want to know, like, who got an iPad? If they didn't get an iPad, what happened, right?
Right, they're just kids.
It's
They
a
ask
great,
they ask
yeah,
the funniest questions sometimes.
yes, they do. So yes, the Yes Waiver is a really good program, and it's so much fun, and the kids really enjoy it. And you know, at the same time, we're targeting those needs. You know, we're improving the needs, and of course, the strengths. You know, we often don't see a strength, you know, on a child because we're so bogged down with their behavior that, oh, he does this, and this. So we
Right.
try to be positive. Let's look at other areas where this, you know, oh, he misbehaved. Because I've been to meetings where, oh, he misbehaved. He did this. And I'm like, okay, well, how are his grades? You know, we
The
kind
good
of
things highlight
right.
the what he's
Just think about
doing
the good
good.
stuff.
Yeah,
Because, you know, the child is in there and they already know what they do, you know.
exactly. They're like, I don't need you to repeat it again in front of everybody.
That's right. That's right. So they, you know, it's a good program. It's evidence based. So yeah, I can say that I've seen it in a lot of the kids we have.
Well, hopefully our volunteers are able to utilize all of the information that you have provided today. I think it was very beneficial, for me, I guess. I just since I do most of the training for our volunteers, we always like to because sometimes our volunteers ask us really good questions, right? Like, well, what if this or what could I recommend for this? So it's definitely something that I'm able to utilize in my training to talk about y'all's program and just make sure that people all are aware of it. And I just think in general, even, outside of work as well, I didn't know that there was a program that specifically catered to children that do maybe have those issues where they just need a little bit more help to kind of get them on the right track. So I do appreciate you sharing the information. I don't know if any volunteers have any questions other than Kathleen, but we did go ahead and we answered that question. I don't have any other questions. I think you pretty
Okay.
much
You
covered
also
everything.
you can find me here at the Alice office, and I'm also going to
Okay.
provide you with my cell number because sometimes I'm in and out. I go to Alice. I'm here at the Keysville office. Sorry, I was in Alice. Now I'm in Keysville. Sometimes I'm everywhere throughout the county. So
Right.
my cell number is 361-455-2685. You have any questions, just give me a holler.
And Jalen, I'm going to send you the Yes Waiver flyer that we do have.
Okay, awesome.
I was trying to send it here through the chat, but it's not cooperating.
Right, you're like technology. I definitely understand today's a Monday.
Mhm.
If you ever want to come by the office, I also have some booklets and, you know, some yes waiver information. So if you want to send someone over, I can get a little package.
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah, I could definitely stop by and pick up some. We do have, like right when we walk into our office, we have a whole bunch of pamphlets, so I can definitely add y'all to that list. And that way, if our volunteers do come in and they're trying to kind of look at resources, y'all will be there as well.
Yes, that'll work.
Great. Does anybody have any other questions? Sierra, I didn't know if you had anything else to wrap
I would
up.
say, and I'm sure for like your agency, you all probably already gone through this training, but I also wanted to mention the fact that Coastal Plains, we provide mental health first aid training for adults that are usually handling young adolescents, teenagers, children, to help them recognize the signs and symptoms of a potential mental health crisis or mental health symptoms. That is something that we try to provide for the public free of costs. And if that's ever something you're interested in, you could always feel free to contact me. We have a mental health first aid coordinator as well, who does do all of the planning for those different events. And just wanted to go ahead and make sure that you stay informed about what's going on within the field, what's going on with our communities, so that way we can try to help out each other. We all have very related fields, and it's good that we stay in touch.
Right. No, yeah, of course. I'll definitely get with you on especially the dates that you do have those mental health trainings. So as volunteers, I mean, even myself as a facilitator, like when I'm doing training for new volunteers, it's always good to be able to elaborate a little bit more on the signs and things like that. So it's definitely something that I will get with you just to kind of see your dates, and I'll go ahead and throw that out to our volunteers as well for anybody that does want to sign up for that class.
Yes, and we have done it with Brush Country before. I think the last one that I particularly attended was in Alice.
Okay.
But like new employees come and go, and
Right.
that's something that's offered.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that information. Well, I do want to thank both Sierra and Imelda for taking the time out of their day to just educate us on the Yes Waiver. You know, we're very appreciative, and hopefully we continue to be able to utilize y'all as a resource, especially later down the line. I know y'all cover a lot of different topics, so I'll definitely keep y'all in mind for future volunteer meetings as well. But if that's it, then I'm going to go ahead. We can end it here, and I hope you'll have a good rest of y'all's week, and I hope you'll have a good and happy Easter.
Okay. Same to you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.